In the 1930s, access to electricity was not a given, particularly for those choosing rural America as home. Incumbent utilities, driven largely by profit, constructed electric infrastructure only in the more densely populated areas, leaving millions of rural Americans in the dark. But neighbors banded together and organized electric cooperatives to bring power and light to the rural space.
Locals got together and said, if they won't do it for us, we ought to do it for ourselves. And that became kind of the song that was the rural American, the rich history behind Midwest Energy is really relatable to that, all the way back in the 30s, some 80 years ago, where local folks, local farmers, took up the need, took up the charge to bring in any way they could, not having any knowledge on how to build an electric utility, knowing that they weren't going to be able to access it unless they did it themselves.
Someone had a vision for something different, born out of the realization that geography should not define access to services. Yet a similar inequality exists today that is as debilitating as lack of electricity was nearly 80 years ago. Today's inequality is high-speed internet.
If you look at what's happening with the internet, everything from medical services to financial services, education, it's all being pushed to the internet. And not to have availability of that is it's just not an option anymore.
I don't think there's a difference between city and rural. I think folks are folks and they want to be able to be current, and I think everybody deserves that wherever they live.
It's so interesting, the parallel that we can draw today with what we saw in the 1930s, because in the 1930s the rural space wasn't given the opportunity to have electricity because it just didn't make sense.
Here we are again, kind of in that same position, kind of having that conversation with folks in the rural space saying, can you do something for us? And I can't think of a better position to be in with respect to having the support from our own membership to provide another service that they can't get otherwise. We're an electric utility, but we're also a member-owned cooperative. And what we've heard loud and clear for the last almost 10 years now is the need.
People are choosing their residences anymore based on availability of essential services. And so if we're not able to meet that need, if we're not able to provide a viable high-speed solution that works for folks, they're going to have to make other choices about where they set up their homes, about where they set up work.
I still work in Colorado. We moved here from Colorado recently. And that was a situation in which we really need to time that such that we would have some type of good internet service so that I could do those things so I can telecommute.
When you hear a family, a fairly young family with young kids at home and parents who work out of their house suggest that they're at a position where they're considering putting what they have up for sale so they can go somewhere just for the privilege of having access to high-speed internet. It's amazing to me and how gratifying it is for us as an electric co-op and a provider to members to hear from them and how grateful they are that we are now taking up this issue for them.
We've worked with some other partners from around the country and have opened doors for some national change, impacting policy, impacting funding, so that not only here in Southwest Michigan, but really across the country, non-traditional providers like electric cooperatives can answer the needs for their members to bring solutions so that they don't have to choose to move out of the rural space that they know and love.
Today, knowing that technology is moving at a fast and furious pace, the cooperative is implementing a robust fiber-based communication system across its electric grid. This will allow Midwest to maximize current and future opportunities available through the smart grid, and also allow them to finally provide a true high-speed solution to those who've waited so long.
We don't know what we don't know. As was pointed out at the recent Consumer Electronics Show, there's folks manufacturing devices today and gizmos and gadgets that aren't even available in the general marketplace yet, but we need to be ready for them. And what we've decided to do is build this really state-of-the-art communication systems from beginning to end. It just fits really nicely. We have the backbone, we have the wherewithal, we have all of the facilities and structures and right-of-ways in place that it makes sense for us to be able to first take care of our utility business from the perspective of smart grid and smart applications, but then here's this beautiful resource that we've established for communications purposes in our utility that then we can then expand and provide internet, for example, to the membership.
The nature of our businesses are like so many other businesses these days, involving computer systems services for our clients. So we've become very computer reliant in the business, and the necessity to be able to monitor those things from home have always been important for us. The new fiber service is just taken us right into the 21st century.
I'm very happy to be a member owner of an organization that kind of has the leadership and the vision to want to do something like this and extend these technologies into rural areas so that we can do what we do. What I would say to those who are still waiting is hang on, because it is worth the wait, well worth the wait. And for me, all that non-productive time that I would spend making that 1,100-mile commute, that's time I can either be productive for a business or I can be spending with my family, and there's no price tag that you can put on that.
80 years ago, electric cooperatives brought power and light to the rural space. Today, Midwest Energy Cooperative is again working to affect change for those who are unserved and underserved as a result of geography. Midwest Connections is powering information and solutions, providing access to today's technology and preparing for whatever the future might bring.